check in now on Mexico. Boy, they need a miracle there. Crews are desperately combing through collapsed schools in southern New Mexico, looking for that miracle. They found a little girl alive, buried underneath all that rubble from yesterday's earthquake. And now the job is to get to that little girl. Foreign correspondent Alice Dare Baverstock is in a town near the epicenter of Tuesday's deadly magnitude 7.1 quake. And you joining us now by Skype. Alistair, what's the mood of the people there? I mean, we're watching these rescues play out. This one little girl has so many people hanging on hope.
Well, the mood here, I'm in a town called Adlisco, which is the town which was the closest municipality to the epicenter of this very strong earthquake. And the mood here in the town is one of still a lot of stress, a lot of shock, and one of coming to terms with what has happened here. Because while, as you can see behind me, a lot of, this cathedral here, very famous from the 16th century, it's been completely destroyed, and it's now impossible to go in because it's a health risk. It's a serious risk of completely collapsing at any moment. And so far, Mexico hasn't seen any aftershocks from this serious earthquake, which is quite a worrying sign. Usually you would expect to see them by this point. So it's in the town here in Adlisco, at the center, people are telling me it was an absolutely horrible experience, that they thought it was the apocalypse. They thought it was the end of the world. And it's still something that people are struggling to come to terms with here in central Mexico.
You know, I'm curious. I know that they've got, utilities issues. They have all sorts of things they're dealing with as these towns, as you get farther and farther away from Mexico City. But are people talking about what's happening there with all the people trapped, and are they dealing with their own situations?
Well, this is the problem, because people here in the streets, because people here from Adlisco have been, since yesterday's earthquake, have been afraid to go back into their houses, because while some of the town has been flattened, not even all the buildings in the center are considered unsafe for human habitation, and that has left the town essentially homeless. So far in Adlisco, there have been 6 confirmed dead, but a lot of buildings have collapsed, and the work is still going on to try and get these people out of this rubble, because by now it's been It's been 24 hours by this point. It's not much longer that people trapped inside rubble can hang on. And one of the most horrific things I saw yesterday was that people who are, the authorities are getting involved, and they're trying to get the civilians involved to get as many hands on deck as possible to move this rubble and get people out. And one of the most horrific things is that they're calling for absolute silence while they work in order to better locate the cries for help of the people buried in the rubble below.
I know that is certainly the case. As they heard, we just showed a picture of the search for this little girl. They listened very carefully. They got the help of canines to try to listen for that voice. That silence is so important. Is it hot or cold there, real quickly? Because I'm thinking about dehydration. You talk about how many hours you have people trapped.
Well, it's hot here. It's not humid, but it's hot. The sun is very intense here in the central Mexican highlands. And while the authorities and local shops have been handing out water, supplies are not reaching Adlisco and the more rural areas of Puebla state and the affected areas of Mexico quickly enough.
All right. Alistair, thank you very much. We appreciate the update from there.